Every time a major trade goes down, we always talk about the winner and loser of that deal, cause it's fun to criticize a team that made a horrendous trade. However, surprisingly in recent years, there's been some trades that are great for all parties involved. Usually, teams that want to get rid of a star for picks in order to rebuild, we see that all the time. Very rarely do we ever see a trade like the one between the Cavs and Jazz, where both teams won immediately. But considering the Jazz also snatched a total of 7 first-round picks from both the Mitchell and Gobert trades, I'd say they made out like bandits. They have so many assets, yet they're still at the top of the Western Conference, despite losing their 2 stars. Why are they still so good? This was a team that was supposed to be tanking, yet here they are, dominating. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and let's get started. Lauri Markkanen. I think when the Jazz made those 2 trades, everyone focused on the picks, but the players they got back were also quite good, and have proven before that they have the talent and skills, they just needed a new direction. Lauri Markkanen is one of those guys, and he's a prime example of that. He was drafted to the Bulls and spent his early years not knowing what his role would be. The Bulls had a plethora of young players, and Markkanen just did not get a consistent number of touches. They also kinda gave up on him quite quickly. The same deal in Cleveland, he was always the 4th or 5th option. In Utah, there's no doubt he's become the man on the team, but there are still doubts if he could legitimately be the first option on a team for an entire season. That was the dilemma the Bulls had when they drafted him. They didn't see a guy who wanted the spotlight, as Markkanen always hid in the shadows, and did not embrace the opportunity like they wanted him to. Now that he's older and seasoned, his confidence skyrocketed, and he's turned into the player that everyone always wanted him to be. I think it's partly due to his recent exposure in the FIBA Eurobasket. Markkanen absolutely shredded through the tournament, and even though Finland didn't win, he still averaged 27.9 points a game, the 2nd most out of anyone in the tournament behind Giannis. And right when the NBA season started, Markkanen picked up where he left off. This is what he said. It was a big mental thing, obviously, playing competitive basketball and World Cup qualifiers and Eurobasket the whole summer, knowing that I'm gonna be coming into training camp in the best shape of my life. So it was both mental and physical that kind of prepared me for the year. An interesting starting lineup. This season, the Jazz are also playing much bigger. It's kinda weird cause you would think in the past, with Rudy Gobert and all, they'd have a bigger lineup. But that wasn't the case because it was always either Bojan Bogdanovic or Joe Ingles as the power forward, plus Royce O'Neal at small forward, who's 6'4", and then you have 6'1" Donovan Mitchell at shooting guard. They had a very small team aside from Gobert, and that's why they relied on him way too much. Opponents used to take advantage of their lack of size all the time, but now they're so big. Kelly Olynyk and Markkanen are both 7-footers, while Jared Vanderbilt is 6'9". All of them are in the starting lineup, and their length has bothered a ton of teams. Because of their length and ability to cover more space more quickly, the Jazz are actually contesting more shots below the arc this year. As a team, they're contesting 33 2-point shots per game, compared to just 28 per game last year. It's a sign that on defense, they're rotating and getting to their spots quicker. Plus, with their additional length, they have an easier time covering more ground and getting to the offensive player. A little talked about asset that was part of this Mitchell trade was Colin Sexton. This is a young man who's made staggering progress in his first few years, but after a knee injury, he missed most of last season. Now, he's fully healthy, and I think most people expected him to be the team's starting shooting guard. Instead, the coaches made an interesting choice by putting Jordan Clarkson as the starter. Clarkson has always been quite the erratic player, but in recent years, he's gotten more stable, and even won the 6th Man of the Year award in Utah. This is the first time since 2016 that Clarkson is the team's dedicated starting shooting guard, and his many years of experience as a 6th man is paying off. The dude is playing better than ever, from his career high in assists to his career high in 3-point shooting. Clarkson is having a career season at the age of 30. Anyway, by the end of the season, Sexton will most likely be a starter as he slowly integrates himself into the team, while Clarkson moves back to the bench. The Jazz are banking on him to become a core piece of the future, but hey, if it doesn't work out, they still got like 7 first-round picks to fall back on. I hope Sexton reinvigorates his career though, he's incredibly fun to watch. Speaking of which, are you getting tired of watching NBA games and all of a sudden a blackout happens? It's been an issue in recent years, so if you're having trouble with that, try using Private Internet Access VPN. The NBA, NFL, MLB, some games are blacked out in certain states due to syndication rights. You might have found issues streaming if your ISP uses activity-based throttling. A VPN allows you to watch those games regardless of where you live, or if you want to watch out-of-state news programs. You can do that too. Most importantly, PIA VPN allows you to, of course, keep yourself private while online. They don't save any logs, which has been proven multiple times in court, so you can be sure you'll stay fully anonymous while browsing the internet. Plus, with a 4.6-star rating on Trustpilot and over 8,000 reviews, you'll be getting a great product. PIA is giving a special deal only to my viewers, an 82% discount for 2 years, plus 4 months free. It's only with my link, piavpn.com/AndyHoops, so go and check it out. A balanced offense. As much as I love Donovan Mitchell and I'm glad to see him succeed in Cleveland, one of the biggest criticisms of him in Utah was how much he held the ball. There'd be possessions where he'd dribble out the entire shot clock before taking a heavily contested shot. Sometimes it would work and he'd look amazing. Other times, it gave the entire fan base a headache. Rudy Gobert was also one of the most efficient scorers in the league, but that's because all of his shots were at the rim, and he can only score through putbacks and assisted dunks. While he was hard to stop, his offense was also very predictable. That's why they always struggled in the playoffs. Now, this new-look Jazz has a squad of players who are threats from every area of the floor. They're number 10 in the league in passes per game as a team, with 288, which is significantly more than last year where they were 29th in passes, with 266 per game. The assist percentage follows a similar trend as they're now 9th in the league at 64%, compared to 29th in the league last season at 55%. This means they're passing the ball more and their passes are generating more buckets. Coach Will Hardy is a brand new head coach and he put an emphasis on ball movement and getting everybody involved. Since they don't have any bona fide superstar anymore, they need to employ a free-flowing offense to get guys moving and running to get open, so everyone can be a threat. It has resulted in a roster where 6 different players average double digits in scoring, along with being second in bench points per game as a team. Malik Beasley and Colin Sexton are coming off the bench and providing an instant spark to their offense. Their success is a result of a total team effort, hence why they also have the second best offensive rating in the NBA, behind the Celtics. Hardy was also an assistant under Coach Pop for 6 years, and he learned a lot from his time there. Right after he was hired, he was asked what his plan was for this new Jazz team. This is what he said, quote, "It's always about being selfless. Coach Pop says all the time, get over yourself, it ain't about you. No one person is bigger than this, and that goes from him all the way down." It's crazy how the Jazz are such a different team than last year, yet they're still able to maintain their offensive prominence by playing a completely different playstyle. And defensively, they're still pretty damn good too, even without Gobert. Depth. I mentioned this earlier, but having Malik Beasley and Colin Sexton come off the bench is an incredible gift. In recent years, both of them were 20-point-per-game scorers, and if they're feeling it, they can go off on any given night. Honestly, both of them are starting caliber players, but are now fueling their incredible bench play. The Jazz bench scores over 43 points a game, right behind the San Antonio Spurs. Also, I haven't yet talked about the versatility of Jared Vanderbilt, who I believe is key to the Jazz defense. Before, on the Wolves, he was a great fit alongside Cat, a versatile big man with an incredible motor. Last season, he dominated all the hustle numbers, and now he's become the Jazz's most valuable defender. He's super switchable, can guard any position in a pinch, even the NBA's best perimeter players. Offensively, everyone wants their players to be able to shoot threes. Though that's one thing Vanderbilt cannot do, he makes up for it by constantly moving and pursuing the ball. He's averaging over 2 offensive boards a game in limited minutes. On a team with already great shooters, that's all they need from him. They need his hustle, they need his intangibles. Those things don't show up in the box score, but that's what every championship team needs. Of course, then there's Mike Conley, Rudy Gay, and Kelly Olynyk, who found a new life in Utah, playing better than he's ever played. That's what makes this team so special. The Jazz have a mix of solid veterans clinging to the twilight years of their career and a bunch of young players with a chip on their shoulder, especially Markkanen and Sexton, who are hungry for redemption. You combine that with Utah's incredibly low expectations coming into the season, and this is a team that you don't want to mess with. You know these guys are more motivated than ever to prove everyone wrong. Anyway, that's all, folks. The Utah Jazz have exceeded all expectations this season. They were supposed to be a lottery team after trading away their two main stars, but their franchise has a very strong culture for success. They have a stable foundation to build on. From their front office to the trainers to their coaches, the Jazz have always been one of the most well-run organizations across all sports. Maybe we shouldn't be surprised after all. They have a good track record. Let me know in the comments where you think the Jazz will finish this season. Do you foresee them maintaining a top seed in the West? Or is this just some early season luck? Thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.